Welcome to the Muscle Building Mastery podcast, where guys that want to build muscle come to learn how to do it properly. We understand that there's more to building muscle than mindlessly throwing weights around and chugging mass gainer shakes. We're not interested in quick fixes or anabolic assistance. We're interested in mastering the art, science and skill set required to stack on real muscle and strength. My name's Andy Clements, and for the last 12 years I've devoted my life to figuring out how guys like us who don't have amazing genetics, don't have 5 hours a day to spend in the gym, and don't want to take steroids as a shortcut can build insane amounts of muscle and strength in weeks and months, not years and decades. This podcast is the result of all the lessons I've learned along the way, and it will give you the blueprint to building more muscle in less time. To get you started, head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week workout plan. Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Andy Clements from Muscle Building Mastery and welcome to episode 57 of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a little break from the mini-series we've been doing of the muscle spotlights, and we've done, I think, 3 or 4 episodes of that now. But in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about something that's been on my mind probably just for like the last 30 minutes, and I just really wanted to sort of get it off my chest and just do it, like just get it all out there on a podcast episode, because I think it's something that is really, really important, and I think the quicker I can get this out of my head while it's fresh, the better impact it'll have for you guys that are listening to it. So what I want to call this episode is just stop overcomplicating, right? Because this is the number one thing. I don't know if it's the number one thing, but it's definitely a massive thing that I see so many people like stopping them from making progress with muscle building, with fat loss, with health, with fitness, with anything, right? It's overcomplicating the process, right? So this has been brought to my mind tonight because I've just got in. It's 9:15 at night. I've just got in from a long day of coaching and personal training at the gym. And the last guy that I saw was a really cool guy, and it was his second PT session, and he's been training for a while, but he's never, he's just been sort of figuring it all out on his own, so it's his first time hiring a coach, his first time hiring a personal trainer, and so we did the upper body session on Monday, and today is Friday, and we did the lower body session today, and he was so it's like he basically, even though he's been training for a while, he basically said to me at the end of the session that was the first proper leg session he's ever done. He's been training for a few years now, so obviously he's done leg exercises, but he said it was the first proper leg session he's ever done in his life. And he was like amazed how effective the most basic 5 to 6 exercises were when you do them properly, and like he could sort of barely stand up at the end of the session. Now this is not news to me. This is normal. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I know that when you give somebody the basic stuff and you make them do it absolutely properly with precision, accuracy, and with intensity, and you don't let them up on it, it's brutal. It's brutally hard, and he doesn't need to be complicated. And I was sort of having a conversation with him. I was saying, yeah, like how hard was that? And he was like, mate, that was brutal. But I sort of said, like, was that complicated? He was like, no, like that was so simple, like the simplest stuff ever. Like it's nothing out of the ordinary, no exercises not done before, just really narrowing in on doing the exercises properly. And I sort of see people all the time, like spending 3, maybe even 4 hours in the gym, doing all sorts of crazy stuff in the gym, like making massive circuit style workouts and just putting loads of exercises together and thinking that they just need to throw more and more and more at their legs or their upper body or their arms or their shoulders, whatever the muscle is, to make them grow. And they copy exercises they've seen on Instagram or on YouTube that somebody just made up so they get attention online, like sitting fucking sideways on a Smith machine to train their chest, like with a close grip handle. Like, honest to God, that's like my pet hate. It really does my head in. Stuff like that that's just completely made up and has no logical place in the gym. You don't need it. It's overcomplicating. Stop overcomplicating. So I see people doing all this stuff all the time. I know it's a bit of a rant. I'm not trying to get on my high horse with all this stuff, but it does frustrate me when I know that it doesn't need to be that complicated. You don't need to spend that much time in the gym. You don't need to make up these exercises and do this weird stuff. in order to grow muscle, right? You just need to do the basics. It's the basics, guys. The stuff that I come on this podcast day in, day out and rant about the basics, and I do it for a reason, because that's the stuff you need to be doing in order to grow muscle. It's the basics. It doesn't need to be complicated. Like, it's literally just a case of doing the most basic stuff with 100% accuracy and 100% intensity. So if you're training your legs, it's like I was explaining to the guy that I was training this evening, and I've explained on the podcast before, if you're training your legs, you're training it around two basic movements, the squats and the leg presses. Those are the two basic movements that you are structuring your entire workout around. Now, the other movements are obviously important, like the leg extensions, the leg curls, the lunges, the stuff like that, but they're all basic movements, but you're structuring it around them two big movements. You get them two big movements right, and then you start loading them up over time, like, your legs are going to grow. They just are. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you do them properly, and when you put tension through the right areas, and you keep tension on them areas, and then you apply the principle of progressive overload, which we spoke about more times than I can remember on a podcast, and on my YouTube channel, and on my Instagram at AndyClements01, and all the different channels that I put information out. And no, I'm not the only person talking about this stuff. There's loads of people talking about this stuff, but it's because it works, right? But if you put tension to the right areas, and you use the basic movements, and the basic and there have been around for a long time for a reason. They've been used by guys since like the I don't even know, like the 1930s. When was the first time people started lifting weights properly? Like, I don't know, 1900s, whatever it was, all the way through to when muscle building started to become popular in the 70s and the 80s, and things might have changed. We might have learned more scientifically since then about workouts and how to do things properly, but the basic movements have stood the test of time for a reason, because they work. They are the best things we have, and if you do them properly with accuracy, if you do them properly with intensity, you will grow. And this is what the guy I was training tonight, who's an awesome guy, but this is what he sort of found out firsthand when we were training together. He was sort of like, I can't believe how much like I am like just fucked from these really basic movements. Like, it's not a fast-paced workout. It's just doing the movements with accuracy, doing the movements with intensity, and not letting up. And like he actually literally, this is a direct quote, he was like, if this doesn't build muscle, I don't know what does, because this is the hardest workout I've ever done in my life. And we literally did like 5 or maybe 6 exercises in total for the entire workout. And it wasn't like there were supersets. They were just like one exercise, do that, 2-3 sets, then done, and move on to the next one. Simple, so simple. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. And this isn't just training as well, this doesn't just apply to training, it applies to everything. With definitely with muscle building, I don't think I'm necessarily qualified to sit here and talk about philosophy or life or anything like that. But I mean, you can apply this to whatever you want. But in muscle building and fitness and fat loss and health and strength and all that stuff, this applies across the board. It's not just training. It's definitely training, but it's not just training. It's with nutrition. Like, get your basics right with nutrition. Hit your calories, hit your allotted calories, and then break that down to your macronutrients, and then break that down to your nutrient timings. And then you're away, and you can set up a diet that actually works for muscle building. I'll probably go deeper on the dietary side, because I've not done a dietary podcast in a while, but it's again, here's a spoiler, it's about the basics. Get the basics right. And then, the other basics, muscle building, what are the other basics? Get your sleep right. Get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. That's how you recover. That's how you grow, stay active. Get your however many steps in a day you need. Stretch, do yoga, do mobility work, do drills, do anything like that. Keep your mind healthy, keep your mental health on point, meditate, do all those different things like that have an impact on your body indirectly. And, all these things feed into the same goal, and they are all basics, like these aren't things that we're trying to make up. These aren't things that I'm trying to, put my own spin on or anything like that. These are things that have stood the test of time, and they've stood the test of time for a reason. And the reason is that they work. They build muscle, they build strength, they help lose fat, whatever it is, they work, So essentially, that's all I want to come on and say. It's been quite a short podcast, but I hope this is an effective podcast. I hope this sort of gets through to you. And if this is what you need to hear right now, then good, because this is one of the biggest things that I see people holding themselves back with when it comes to building muscle. And it's not in a judgy way. I'm not trying to judge you if this applies to you. I'm trying to help you, because it's something that happened to me for a long time. I used to come in the gym and try all sorts of crazy, ridiculous stuff, and I used to overcomplicate, and I used to train for hours and hours on end and just do stupid stuff, and it just didn't work. I just ended up sore, injured, and skinny, basically, and skinny fat. So it was only when I started learning the basics and learning how the basics worked that things started to change for me, and things started to change for my clients as well. Like the feedback I started to get from my PT clients, just giving them the basics and making sure they do it right was next level. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this podcast, one thing I want you to take away from any podcast I do, it's stop overcomplicating and nail the basics in whatever you do. Training, nutrition, sleep, whatever it is, nail the basics. They work. They are 80 to maybe even 99% of what you need to do. The only people who need to worry about anything more complex than the absolute basics are like pro level bodybuilders, and even they, like, the majority of things they do are the basics. They just do the basics really, really well. That's the difference between successful people and people that are still struggling, is the successful people focus on the basics and they do them well, and they do them every single day. So I hope that made sense, guys. Stop overcomplicating and do the basics, get them really, really right. I know I'm hammering this home, so I'm gonna wrap this up now. But yeah, that's essentially what I want to come on. Next time on the podcast, we'll resume with the mini series where we'll be talking about the mid back and doing the muscle builder spotlight. But for now, hopefully that sort of take home message made sense and was useful to you. And if it was what you needed to hear, then I hope that helps you to make a difference in your muscle building training or fat loss training or whatever you're doing. So yeah, hope that was useful, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, drop me a review, or follow me on Instagram at AndyClements01, and head to andyclementsfitness.co.uk if you want to see how I can help you further. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll speak to you next time on the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. If you're ready to stop wasting time in the gym and start mastering the skill of muscle building, go check out www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week muscle building workout plan. I have specifically formulated this workout plan to take you through the 3 stages of mastering your body, layering on a more advanced training methodology each week as you progress. That means that regardless of where you are with your training right now, this plan will push you forward and help you stack on more muscle and strength in just 6 weeks. So head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net now to grab your free 6-week workout plan.